always answering everything. Somebody tell me else. Somebody else. What does that mean? Ready to begin, AJ.
But seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
What do you think that means? Somebody give an idea.
Put God first. Seek God first, and then he'll bless your life with,
Give me an illustration now.
an illustration.
Well, you ain't got to draw it. Paint a picture with your words. AKA cast a spell upon us with your words. With your dulcet words.
I don't think so, S.A.
Somebody give me an
It's
illustration.
like a covenant. You seek, one of the things is he'll take care of your family. You seek him, these things, you get the world, there's nothing is not available to you.
Okay, so now you're getting closer. But you see how hard it is to wrestle with the simple concept of just, because if I tell you, let me think about this. I can pretty much ask you anything, about, when you get paid and, your bills and all the obligations like AJ and I was talking about, where his thing is 10:30. He's constantly aware of 10:30. I've now become aware of 10:35. Someone said, why are you so aware of 10:35? Well, that's when we start church. Well, why did you decide there? Well, that gives you 5 minutes grace time. After that, we're rolling. You form these things. But isn't it funny that when I ask you something like this, first thing, it can't be fear. Okay? If y'all's afraid of this crowd, y'all's in trouble. So the thing is that I had never considered it this way. So the illustration that I got this morning, and I'll give you an example. I am going through and Amber and I are approaching this thing because remember, what was the red car theory? The red car theory is unless you're looking for something, you won't see it. But once you start looking for something, you'll start seeing it. And at the same time, I prayed about a decision, and I'm going through a process that I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to come about, but I may be ending up changing jobs. I don't know how all this stuff is going to go through. I guess the motivation behind all this is that kind of like what AJ and I was talking about this morning. Lance, I don't have any desire whatsoever to walk around with this crap on my shoulders anymore. You got to learn sometimes, man. You carry, it's like when you're so busy, and that's one thing that I was telling Dory. We were so busy December the 13th. I had ordered some flowers, bulbs, and pretty excited about them. And I'm so used to plants when they come in, take time to come in. You just blow them out of your mind because you don't think about they're going to come. Because if you've ever ordered plants from the mail, it takes a while. Sometimes they don't even ship them. Like I was looking at a tree today, and this one company won't ship it till March. Well, I'll have something else happen between here and March, and I'll forget about it until it shows up. Like, oh, when did I order that? So it was around the Christmas holiday, and I got thinking, I just wonder where my plants are. Sure enough, I got Googling it, and I went my email, and come to find out that the Postal Service said that they was delivered December 13th. Well, I ain't seen no big package December 13th. Well, did we put it inside? Did baby get it? Did on her porch? What happened to it? I've not seen it. But the most amazing thing is that was 10 days. And I do not remember what happened at the time. Where was my mind, AJ? I never even checked my email. Was it on my mind? It wasn't even the thing that I was processing. But as well, we was walking around with so many other things. For the last 2 weeks, I've been processing me. Different ways and different things, getting everything ready to go because I had a goal that I wanted to accomplish. So we're so busy doing our life and doing our world that I never even knew that they showed up. If I would have had an alarm says, hey, Monty, on the 13th, your package will be here. Because I guarantee you, I know exactly when my coffee will be here. And how do I know this? Because Amber said yesterday, hey, Monty, we need to order coffee. And so we started ordering it from Amazon, the big bulk packages. We found a brand new bag. Well, so I'm going through it yesterday, and I happened to look at it. It's okay, great. and it said the January 7th grade. I was like, oh, no, it's not no good. I'm not going to do this, no. And so I was looking at the other one, and come to find out, I was at some weird shipper or selling store that sold it on Amazon. I went to the one I normally buy it from. They said next day. So today I'm looking, oh yeah, coffee be here today. Because I know my coffee going to be here. Because run out of coffee, yes, that's not good. And so I was aware of it. That was on my radar because, again, I know that we're about out. When we're so busy and we have all these different things around us, we're just swamped. And if you think about that, how like is that of our lives? You know, it's like AJ. He and I have done several things together, and one of the things and if you ever spend any time around AJ, one of the things is that AJ is, he's probably the only person I know that's on his phone more than Artie. But his is always business. Artie's on something else. But the thing is that I'm always listening to AJ, and he's always having to solve these problems. He's always carrying this stuff around with him. I remember managing the body shop. My mind was constantly aware of some dates and is always under pressure of all these things. I'm at that point now where I don't want to do this no more. I want to live. Because I'm on a downhill slope now. And it's descending really, really quick. And so I want to maximize the years that I have left. And like I explained to my boss's wife, I don't know that staying where I'm at versus going here is going to be, if I stay there, I don't know that if I stay there, that it's going to carry me much beyond 2 or 3 more years, because at the rate that he's doing business and running his business, I may not have a job. I may not have a job next week. I don't know. You just don't know, because he's supposed to be served here in a few days. You know, his divorce papers, and I don't know what's going to happen then. So the other job, I've got security, because all I got to do is just do my job. And the woman I was talking to about this interview, she's saying, well, you know, about management, stuff like that. I said, oh, heck no. She said, yeah. She said, you don't want to be a manager. And I said, well, I didn't want to be a manager anyway. She said, yes. She said, but the managers, they have a salary. And they work lots of hours. And guess what they don't get? Overtime. They carry all the responsibilities, Emily. They have all these different things. And what does money not want? Responsibility. What does money want? Free time. You know, so I'm sitting here and thinking about all the benefits of all these things. But how do you make that decision? How do you make that decision? This morning, I'm looking at other decisions that I'm making and things that we're wanting to accomplish, the things that we're wanting to see. You know, it's like I've told the story about Amber. She was in there and Axton was sitting in there. I may have even told you all this. But I asked Axton, I said, ask Amber, what is she doing in there? Because I knew exactly what she was doing. She was filming The Village. Oh. And it wasn't so much that she was filming The Village, because she already filmed it, yet she got the final filming. You know why she wanted the final filming? Because she knew in a couple of days the village was gone. That sucker was gone, because she's ready, because now she's got it in her mind, a coffee bar, which coincides with the bar that we're going to add in the little sunroom now. Where our kitchen table was at, we're going to build a bar counter there. And she's going to have a little coffee spot. So she's got all this visions in her mind. Well, to get there, guess what's got to go? Christmas Village. That sucker was gone. She had it down. So, you know, we've got these things in our mind, and we're so busy doing all these things. And, you know, especially if you're a gardener now you add that, because where are you at right now? You're actually, if you're a gardener, and if you're thinking about your gardening right now, you're probably already behind time. If you really think about it, because now you got to play catch up. If you wait any further, now you're going to be running around there. So it's this processes of all these things going on in your mind. But the big question is that do you really need it? How do you, again, we touched on making decisions. I had never considered this thing, because I'm sitting there this morning and I'm trying to think about all these things, and all of a sudden I heard, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Well, consider it from this aspect. What does God say about his thoughts in relationship to ours? We don't think like him, do we? So, what does it mean to think like God? Is there a phrase for it? So first thing is that seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. So in other words, when you're asking the question, I like bouncing things off people. I terrorize Aaron because I wake up and guess what my mind is on? Something else. And I'll bounce it off her. She's like, look, I'm not even ready to talk. Me, man, I'm wide open, Lance. I'm just ready to blurt out all these ideas. And she's like, no. Catch me when I'm aware in this moment here, then I'll tell you the real story. Me, I like running them across somebody because I'll tell you, hey, what do you think? Or I'll do something when I'm going to watch your reaction. You know, it's like you cook somebody something, Dory, and if they spit it out, that's a good clutter. Or if you see this, you see them going. Because they see no trash can. You know that you probably made a mistake somewhere along the lines. And so you start getting these little feedback things. Well, I had never considered this verse as the sum. Remember, we talked about, you know, what was, what is, and what will be when we consider making decisions. But yet, we never really considered that, or I had never considered that verse in application. In other words, if I want to make a decision, I'm going to seek God's wisdom first. In other words, seek you first. In other words, run it by God. Run it through God's wisdom. But how do you understand God's wisdom? Last week, if you remember, we talked about this, and I said, if you guys want to talk about a subject next year, you know, whatever y'all want to go, what y'all want to understand, what you want to read, what you want to help to understand, because in my opinion, it's like the time David. I love the illustration that David gave because he met one of his friends, and when you meet a person who's, whether he's whatever, got this big thing about God and he wants to disprove God, what do they start? What is their entryway into disproving God? What is it?
Yeah, I don't know his name.
It's contradictions, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the contradictions. You know, they say, well, you know, what day you go to church? You know, they start asking questions like that because they did the research. Why do they do the research?
So they can prove them wrong.
So they can disprove you. So the thing is that we don't really talk about the disproving. Why? Because we don't know, do we? We don't know. For me, you know what one of the most terrifying things in the world is? Honestly, terrifying to me is the plan of salvation. Telling somebody about the plan of salvation. I don't know about y'all, but for me, that terrorizes me. If I had to witness to somebody, oh my gosh, it was up, you know, because again, we think about this thing, when you say, well, I might witness to somebody, well, what is witnessing? It's like AJ and I was discussing this morning, love and like. You know, and y'all know the difference. Do y'all know the difference? The difference between love and like? The Bible says we have to love, but it never says anything about liking. And so I was telling AJ was talking about liking. You know, and so it's like with my grandchildren. I love all my grandchildren. So you take this as an illustration. This is what I was showing AJ this morning. It's funny because I came out here, coming back out again. I didn't plan on this. Matter of fact, I'm not planning on not saying. So are these things alike?
They go together.
They go together. They have a purpose together, but they're not alike, are they?
Right.
All right. So the thing is that again, without this one has no use. Without this one's too much. This is the whole thing about, like AJ was talking about, by salt. You know, you can be too much. You can have too much on it. But the thing is these things go together. Without the one, there's no need. And the thing is that this is kind of like a relationship of love. Okay? This is a relationship of love. Now, barring the difference in color, but now are these two alike?
Yes.
All right, now remember words. I really like that person. What are you really saying? That you're really like that person. That's what that word means. It means like. And so when we're thinking about these things, and we're thinking about the words, and we're circling all these little pictures in our minds to try to get the right wording and the right understanding. When we're seeking God's kingdom, or we're seeking the kingdom and His righteousness. So if we think about it in terms of His righteousness, what is He talking about? He's talking about our relationships. Think about this thing. He's talking about how we do business. He's talking about how we treat one another. Because again, these are principles. So in other words, think about it in terms of this. If you're mad at somebody and how you want to treat this person,